Our body corporate here on the Gold Coast has a 25-year caretaker agreement. Other than the monthly payments on the income and expenditure report, no other information is shown on the balance sheet or notes. Can you tell us what are the legal required entries to the annual financial reports, or if any changes to terms or duties would be needed to add to the financial records? Our own auditor has advised that the entries to the income and expenditure are all that is legally required.
Well, there you go. You've had the answer from the auditor. The entries are all that's legally required. So unfortunately, I know what this person's saying. They don't really feel that there's enough financial reporting. It's a large line item for the caretaker's expense, you know, in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's all you see. And you're like, oh, hang on a minute, how come we're recording every tiny little item that goes out, but then we have this one substantial payment? We've really got no idea what happens to that. Yeah, sorry, but that's the legal requirements have been met within that. So that's really the end of the answer. I guess there's a wider question here around how people feel about the caretakers and the frustrations they have about those contracts. I'm a body corporate manager. We're in a service industry. We're not allowed to have a 25-year contract. I can't think of any other circumstance in our lives where we sign 25-year contracts or anything like that. So I'm not. It baffles me that this situation with the caretakers is being allowed to continue. There's no. I can't really see any benefit for the consumers in having these contracts personally, and really, I'm a consumer advocate as a body corporate manager. That we represent consumers. That's what we do. So it's. I can feel the pain of the owners out there who have a lot of frustration with this. I can only say, I'm sort of disappointed that there's not wider action at the government level to try to resolve some of these situations.
Okay.
Not make us so popular with all the caretakers out there, but you know, it's not a. From a consumer's perspective, it just doesn't make much sense.
We do have lots of questions coming in across Queensland about saying no to extensions and the way that the caretaking agreement is set up, and whether they're doing the things that are listed on their agreement, and what happens if they're not. And yeah, so it is a big problem, obviously, across Queensland.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned at the beginning that I used to work in New South Wales. It's a totally different situation there. Most of the building managers are on a short contract, 1 to 3 years. And they have to work to keep their contract. Most of them do a good job. You know, I always had an excellent relationship with all the building managers that I worked with, and I thought they tried really hard. But they are motivated by the fact that if at the end of that contract period, they're not meeting the standards, then the owners have the option of changing. That seems reasonable. That's how our whole society, our whole consumer society is structured. So it's very strange to have this one particular anomaly there that doesn't really adhere to that.
And we're certainly not saying that there aren't good caretakers out there. There are plenty of great caretakers out there, and they do form part of our audience, and we're delighted to have you, and it's great that you're keeping yourself informed. I just thought I'd pop that on the end there.
It's not, there's plenty of people who are doing a good job and who are trying really hard. I've got no problems with that, but it's just the contract. Those people who are doing a good job and who are trying hard, they'd still be keeping their contracts, and they'd still be getting the benefits from that anyway.